We have an update to the story of our sister, 75-year-old Sadie Roberts-Joseph, the sister that opened up the African American History Museum, the one that was a pillar in the community, wanting people to know about the history that we were not taught in school. Now, we reported that she was found in the trunk of a car, and they have arrested a suspect, and his name is Ronn Jermaine Bell. Yes, look at that picture there. You have a black man that would kill this woman. You see, at one point in time, there were incidents that would happen and you would know who did it, literally based on the type of crime. It used to be that way. Certain crimes, you're like, oh, black people don't commit those kind of crimes. We know that. We had certain kind of respect. See, these kind of crimes back in the day used to be something you would see other people do, not black people, because we actually had a lot of respect for our elders in our community. We wouldn't do things like this. But today, these new age black folk, they do the same thing other people do. No different. That's why I don't ever in a video try to pinpoint who did it, because I've seen so many stories that it's been another black person did it. Now, this particular guy was a tenant of one of her rental properties, and he was behind on his rent. This 38-year-old, okay? Now, this guy was a registered sex offender in Louisiana. Now, anyone else would have never gave him a place to stay because of him being a registered sex offender. So you have a black woman helping out a black man, and this is what you do in return? So they say he's being held at the East Baton Rouge Parish Jail on charges of being a fugitive from justice and failure to meet the requirements of a sex offender registration as of right now. And he's also been charged of first-degree murder and the homicide of Miss Sadie. Now, I said the coroner ruled that the cause of death was a homicide due to traumatic asphyxia, including suffocation. I mean, a sister that fought all her life for her community, and that's the way she'd be taken out by a no-good sex offender. Let me tell you something. In my opinion, and if I had to be the president, anytime someone is a sex offender, you're touching children, and we got your dead to rights on touching children, of course, molesting children, molesting people, raping people, I believe it should be the death penalty. I believe it should. Seriously. Because some people don't need to be in our society, and that's including them. If you're dead to rights, and it's proven it's dead to rights, okay? And not this, well, we don't know, no, not that we don't know. But, I mean, it's actual evidence. And that's what I would change in the court system, too. It has to be strong evidence, not this he say, she say, I don't know. No. Strong evidence, forensic evidence, and it's verified by 2 or 3 different outside agencies, not just a state one, too, to make sure that's what it is. Because, you have some corruption with the state at times. But that should be the death penalty. Because if sex offenders knew that that was a death penalty case, they would think a little bit harder before they do what they're doing. Because I've talked to brothers that's been locked up, and they say these sex offenders get out of jail before somebody has some drugs on them. To me, the person that has some drugs on them, I'd rather let them out before I let out some sex offender. And then usually they reoffend again anyway a lot of times. So they said the body itself, okay, was found in the trunk of the car about 3.5 miles from our home Friday afternoon, July 12th. As police discovered the remains in the car in the 2300 block of North 20th Street, which is off of I-110 near Choctaw at 3:55 p.m. Now, say her sister, Beatrice Johnson, told the advocate she saw her sister when she stopped by to use her oven. It said she never came back to pick up the cornbread she made. Now, they also talked about how that, of course, she's a community leader. She's a tireless advocate. The police, she worked with them to help them, solve issues in the community. Okay. Now, the police had got a tip, because some people say, how did the police find, the body? Well, someone called 911 and told the police about the body. And they say it was an anonymous person, but you can't be anonymous. The police found the person. They had nothing to do with it at all. And they just gave the information. I guess maybe they heard him saying something, so they wanted to let the police know what was going on, and that's how they initially found the body in the trunk of a car. So when they got the information, the patrol officer, when the car was in a vacant lot. That's where it was at. And, you know, they popped it open and found the body. I mean, but that is really, really sad. That is extremely sad that you would do that to this sister. And for what? For what? Now, they say he owed her rent. He was behind $1,200 in rent. So because you were behind $1,200 in rent, you're going to kill her? I mean, do you really think you're going to stay there now because you killed her? I mean, make that make sense. I mean, sure, she can get you evicted. She can go down to the courthouse, file eviction, and then the sheriff will come get you out once the judge make his decision on that. But at least you're not in jail. But you wasn't registering as being a sex offender anyway. So you was already going to go back, but you're going to kill this woman. But ladies and gentlemen, you know, we have some people in our community are very, very sick, and we have to call that out too. Some of us are doing some wrong things to each other. And I get more angry and upset when I see us do things to us over anybody else. I get very, very upset by that because you know we deal with in this country. You know we go through, and you going to cause a problem on top of it, or you going to harm and murder someone on top of it in the black community for what? And then when people really give you a reason to do something, you don't do it. But you want to harm an innocent woman that gave you a chance to stay in a place that you know nobody, especially white people, would never let you stay in their place being a sex offender. They'll tell you, get the hell out of here, you sex offender. Don't you come and ask me to stay in my place. And this is what you do? That's sad. You know, you want to give opportunity to black people to help them out. Now, me personally, he would stay in my place. I don't like no sex offender. No, because them kind of people, like I said, you already know my position. If I had to be the president, I would want a law change on that. That's a death penalty to be touching children, doing all the things that you're doing. That should not be allowed, those people to run around in our society. But, you know, this sister, I hope, like I said before, people keep up her work. They keep up the museum, improve it, put money into it. Don't let it go, because she was tragically killed. It wasn't that she, you know, just died whenever the good Lord was ready for her. Because once again, as I stated, legacy is very, very important. Legacy is something that we should always preserve. See, other groups understand legacy, but I know in this country, due to the history that we had, we don't really appreciate the legacy as we should, especially this younger generation, because they just wasn't taught it. But someone step up and preserve her legacy. But leave me a comment, let me know what you think about this particular sad story. But, you know, you try to, you know, help other black people, even ones that no one will help. It's sad that, you know, she lost her life and just trying to do the right thing.